I'm your host, Michael Bane, and can you imagine anything scarier than thinking an intruder is in your home? We're going to step you through a home invasion. Is it going to be scary? You bet. Now here's an accessory that no home invader wants to find in the bedroom. Our friend Mike Dalton. Mike, how you doing?
Good, how you doing today?
Doing good. Now Mike is a top civilian and law enforcement trainer. He's also the co-author of one of the landmark books on civilian self-defense. How do you put together a good self-defense plan?
If you're in a home self-defense situation like this bedroom, well, you certainly want to have a lock on the door. You want to make sure you have a cell phone so you're not totally dependent on a landline for communication, because that can be defeated.
If you're living alone, it's a little bit easier, isn't it?
It's a lot easier. It's a whole lot easier because you only have to be concerned with yourself and what you are doing. If you have family members or guests in the home, or children especially, you have to be concerned what they're doing and where they are. If you're alone, well, it cuts down a lot of the thinking that you have to do in a situation that's very grave.
Now, it's really critical that you communicate all the elements of this plan to your family, right?
Absolutely. Whatever the plan is, if you have family members, spouse, or children, they all need to know what role they have to play and what they have to do.
So, Mike, first question is, loaded or unloaded?
Well, that's going to really depend on your circumstances. In general, a gun for self-defense needs to be loaded. However, if you have children in the house, you may want to have just a magazine in it in case of a semi-automatic. Or you may want to have it in a higher spot where the children can't reach it.
Now that's interesting because usually Mr. Gun here is going to live in Mr. Drawer here. And you're saying that's maybe not the best idea.
No, I don't think it's a good idea for a number of reasons. One is you can get it in a semi-conscious state. Also, if somehow your room was breached and you were still asleep, well, the first place the burglar's going to look is in the drawer.
Mr. Drawer.
Right.
Where should the gun be?
It depends on circumstances, but you could place it on the floor, possibly with a magazine or a newspaper over it, at least a step away from the bed. You could put it in a closet, up in the closet where it's loaded. Well, now if they put you in the closet to get you out of the picture, well, now they put you where your gun is. Whereas if they come and just find it laying there right next to you, either under the pillow or in the nightstand, you put yourself in more peril than helping.
Let's talk about that for just a minute. What's the worst possible place to put a gun? Right there under your pillow. Couple of reasons. Number one, you're going to wake up with a headache. And number two, you're setting yourself up for one really spectacular bad night.
I kind of put things into two classes, long guns and handguns. But I think for most people in a home self-defense situation, a shotgun is probably the worst choice. If you have to push it through the doorway, well, it can be taken away from you.
But with a handgun, you can come back in to a retention. You can
Correct.
be able to move around corners, move around the room.
Your movement is much less limited. You can get into positions behind cover or concealment much easier.
Okay, you're home alone. You hear a noise. What do you do?
Probably the first thing is be sure you're fully awake and you actually have heard something. Once you're assured that you believe someone is in your home, call 911.
Well, that's a really good point. You make a phone call, you call 911. What do you say to them?
Well, you got to let them know that you believe someone is in your home and you believe your life is threatened. Make sure they know your address. Some of the 911 screens don't put it up in front of them. So you got to tell them your address, give them a description of you, what you look like, where you're located, where your bedroom's located, and how they can gain entry into the home.
Do you then hang up? Do you leave the phone off the hook? What do you do?
Now, the 911 operator is not going to want you to hang up. They're always going to want to have that line open. And then you just have to stand by until the police get there, as long as the intruder doesn't try to break into your room.
Mike, you talk about tactically planning a room. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, typically what you want to try to do is have as much distance from the potential threat as possible and also provide some type of cover or concealment or a combination thereof.
Okay, in this room we've got one entryway, one door. So we want to get as far from that door as we can, right?
Correct, and see as much of the room as possible.
So that would be diagonally across from the door right here.
Correct, that would be a good position right there.
And then maybe we should explain just for a second, what's the difference between cover and concealment?
Well, cover will actually potentially stop a bullet. Concealment basically only hides the person, will not stop a bullet.
This bed, solid wood post on this side, so we have cover, we have concealment. So if I were to go down here, and I have a clear view of the door. So if the door is open, if the door is closed, either way, this would be my best position.
Yeah, I would think so in this particular room, yes.
So having call 911, if I'm by myself in stage 1, this is where I want to be.
Correct.
I want to be here until the police show up. But Mike, what if you've got young children? What if you've got an infirmed grandmother down there?
Well, certainly not going to leave them down there in harm's way. So what you're going to have to do now is retrieve them as quickly as possible and bring them back to your safe area.
This is where we're going to end up, safe position.
Correct.
So we're going to have to make some tactical compromises because we don't have all day.
We're going to put ourselves in somewhat of jeopardy, but we want that jeopardy to be as short as possible.
Okay, Mike, I found my kid. We're going back to the safe place. But what if there was another child? What if I've lost one? One of the chicks has wandered off. What's my situation then?
Well, desperate. The most dangerous thing you can go do is try to hunt somebody down. They have the advantage. You're at a great disadvantage. But if it's your child, realistically, you're probably going to go try to find them. Keep moving. Every corner.
You know, Mike, even with the laser, there's no good way to do this, is there?
No, it's very dangerous and very deadly. And think about how long it took you to clear one room.
You know, another important point, though, is at the point that you leave your safe room, that's where you've told the police you're going to be.
That's right.
And now you're wandering around the house with a gun and a flashlight.
Right.
And they don't know you by sight.
This is one of those things that there's no good answer.
So the key thing to remember from this is when things go bump in the night, don't grab the flashlight and the gun and go racing down the hallway. Find a safe place, stay there.